The Rockets made a statement against the Warriors, and that statement was, we have no one who can get a clutch basket. I mean, look at their scores in losses. 85, 106, 93, 89. What is this, 1995?
It felt like 1997 out there.
Okay, 1997. But guess what? It's 2025. You cannot win big games like this. However, the Rockets have two gigantic tricks up their sleeve. They've got the best trade package in the NBA and a potential #1 pick. Should be a great offseason, right? No. Houston could mess up everything they've built so far if they play this wrong. But what do they have so far? Like, how was Houston the #2 seed without a star on offense? Normally need like an SGA, Luka, Jokic. Well, they dominate on defense. Amin Thompson and Tari Eason are nicknamed the Terror Twins, but it's a whole team approach. You could argue the only negative in their rotation is Jalen Green. Fred VanVleet's a dog. Dylan Brooks. Jabari Smith Jr. has length. Alperen Şengün improved. But regular season defense can only take you so far. They've got a really weird way of scoring points, and it all stems from Steven Adams, who drops 4 points a game. But round 1 of the NBA playoffs ended up being one of my favorite rounds of all time. And it was even more fun somehow playing underdog, because when I'm playing pick'em, I pick higher or lower for whatever stats I'm watching, whatever games I'm watching that night. I could win a little money, but I am guaranteed to have a lot more fun. And hey, I could win a lot of money with their game streaks. If I stack 11 in a row, can up to 1,000x my cash. So let me give you my best 2 picks for this round 2 we got going on tonight. First up is OG Anunoby, lower on his points and assists, and then Kristaps Porzingis, higher on his points and assists. And best of luck if you're tailing those picks. Check out this map. Underdogs available in all these highlighted states like Texas, where I live, or California, Florida with their game champions. If it's your first time signing up, nothing helps out the channel more. Use promo code AMHOOPS. You get a special free pick when you do that, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash. But the big Kiwi set an NBA record this year. Look at this gigantic human being grabbing rebounds. No one is a match for this man. And because of this, Adams set the all-time record for grabbing his own team's missed shots by percentage. Dude was better than prime Dennis Rodman. But it's more than Steven Adams. Rebounding is the offensive DNA of the Rockets. This year, they were the #1 rebounding team in the NBA. Why is that a big deal? Because rebounding is actually the one thing that can replace a superstar player. Thinking Basketball pointed this out. The average first chance basket scores just over 1 point per 100 possessions. The average shot overall is 1.14 points, but the average second chance shot is worth 1.22 points. Over a season would be the #1 offense in the NBA. So even though Houston doesn't have an MVP, they make up for it with elite rebounds. So Steven Adams is a free agent and they have got to re-sign him. But the biggest Rocket storyline this year was the emergence of Amin Thompson. You know how Houston needs their #1 player like their Michael Jordan? Well, whoever that is, he's already got his Scottie Pippen waiting. Now, Bulls Scottie stood at 6'8" with a 7'3" wingspan. Quick and athletic to guard any position on the floor. Look at him here making life hell for Magic Johnson in the '91 finals. Able to move his feet and keep himself squared up with the ball. Amin did the same thing to Steph Curry. Picking him up at half court, forcing turnovers, and getting the ball out of Steph's hands. But what about recovery and length? Scottie here gets beat on this closeout, but from behind the play, he can still reach across and swat the jumper. Now watch Jalen Brunson here get a step on Amin. But Jalen's nowhere near safe against that Scottie Pippen-like length and explosiveness. Now while stepping out and pressuring the ball, Pippen also had wicked fast hands. Notice on this play how he keeps his shoulder and hip squared up, but he still has the reach to extend across and poke the ball free. And even against Steph's elite handle, Amin picked his pocket. Also used those quick hands to crush passing lanes. Pippen also had just as much of an impact defending off the ball. I like this play here where Isaiah Thomas is playing in isolation at the top of the key, and as he tries to create space for a pull-up, look at how Pippen is going to rotate over from the weak side to get a piece of his jumper. Amin also thrives in a help roll, rotating just like Scottie to erase Steph's J. But also like Scottie, Amin is not qualified to be the #1 option offensively. He definitely improved this year as a cutter and scoring off the dribble. I mean, if the defense steps back, Amin builds up a head of steam to hit the turbo button, leave you in the dust. But the elephant in the room is his shooting. Dude hit just 33% from the mid-range, 27% from three this year. That is not close to a lead guy on a championship team. And who's that going to be? Jalen Green? Dude scored 38 points in game 2, but outside of that averaged 9 points, which pretty much sums up Jalen Green's career. It's also not Alperen Şengün. ESPN's Tim McMahon said it best. Alpi ain't the next Nikola Jokic. He's the next Domantas Sabonis, which won't get it done. So who could they get? Well, here's where it gets tricky. Next week, we're going to find out where Houston is going to draft. They've got the Suns pick, which is likely 9th overall. But in just 7 spins on Tankathon, Houston picked number 3. 2 spins later, it's number 2. And a few more, it goes number 1. Not saying that it's likely, but it can happen. Now, Cooper Flagg is not your Luka Doncic level scorer, but he could potentially grow into that eventually. A much quicker fix would be a trade. Now, Houston is at the front of the line for any of these big star trades we've been hearing about. They have by far the best package in the NBA. Biggest rumors are for Kevin Durant, Giannis, Trae Young, maybe Zion? Well, DraftKings says that KD is most likely a Rocket if he leaves Phoenix this summer. He is tight with Coach Ime Udoka and assistant Royal Ivy, but Brian Windhorst says the Rockets are on the record and off the record making it clear that they do not want to acquire a player that does not match the age group of their team, which would be 37-year-old Kevin Durant. So why all this smoke? Because Houston will not rule it out if the Suns ask for a small return in a trade and KD takes a pay cut. Those are 2 big ifs. So what about Trae Young? I mean, Fred VanVleet could play the 2 guard next to Trae like he did in Toronto, and Houston's defense could make up for Trae's deficiencies. But by far the biggest fish this offseason is Giannis. He is a proven number 1 on a championship team, Finals MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, and MVP. Still in his prime at 30 years old, and a 5 to 6 year timeline fits Houston. So the trade? Maybe Bucks get Jalen Green, Jabari Smith Jr., Reed Shepherd, and control of 4 quality draft picks. This would fill the Bucks' need for young talent and picks, and it would get the Rockets that number 1 guy. But there is a huge problem on the Rockets. Milwaukee only broke out as a team once they surrounded Giannis with shooters. And Houston ranked in the 20s this year for 3-point attempts, makes, and percentage. Remember how Steve Kerr said they reminded him of 1997? Yeah, that includes their shooting. Now, the Rockets obviously could add shooters, but they would have to basically remake a lot of the roster around Giannis. That is a huge risk to what they've already built. That also applies to getting Zion Williamson, who doesn't shoot, outside of his obvious flaws. Even John Moran ain't a perfect fit. So maybe they're better off waiting on a star and just adding a top 10 pick to this already awesome roster. But what's crazy is the Rockets have remade their team after James Harden without a number 1 pick. I mean, look at their homegrown talent on this team, ranging from pick 2 all the way to 17. Now, number 1 is usually where you find that future offensive MVP, but outside of landing that, this front office has pretty much nailed their draft position overall. I think the perfect addition to this team is a 2-way player who can score at all 3 levels. So dude can shoot, which makes him a seamless fit with Amin Thompson, but literally every team is looking for that player. So the Rockets could really mess this up by rushing things. Either way, the Rockets were a huge success this year, just like Russell Westbrook. Dude not only just beat the Clippers in round 1, but had the game-winning assist game 1 against OKC. So right now, Russ is getting revenge against all the people saying his career is done.